Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Inspo pod. Today is a really important episode, I feel. And I feel like this could easily be like 5, 6 hours long, but it's going to try and be under 35 minutes. But there's just so much going on in the world at the moment on this topic, and there's so much that could and should be said. Um, and it's a really pivotal time for all of this at the moment. And I think we touched on this previously in the episode with me and Catriona. Um, which you hopefully will have listened to in the last week. Um, but I just feel like it's such a big topic that there's so much more that needs to be said. So today I'm going to talk about men and the so-called manosphere, and we're going to sort of briefly touch on violence against women, and I just want to kind of give my take on these subjects, but also how we can help, and also the things that I feel are really toxic. And then I'm going to finish on some icks, some serious, some not so much. So yeah, let's get into it. I say that every episode. And that's one of my icks, actually. Do you know what? When I come to edit my videos, watching the beginning of every episode gives me the ick. It's an ick, full stop. Like crazy. Because I'm like, hi guys, welcome to the Young's Mom Pod with me, Bethany. It's icky, but here we are. I am who I am. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, yes, I have caught the sun. It was only 14 degrees yesterday, and look at my chest. Like, I've legit sunburned. Like, that's crazy. Um, okay, so let's get into it. Ick. So, I think there's a lot of things which are quite harmful to society. And I think for any men that are listening, this is quite important to hear these and to understand that they are harmful to not just the women, but to society as a whole. And hopefully the women you can relate to this as well. Obviously this goes without saying, violence against women and girls, sexual assault, all of these things are harmful to society. That's literally a given. That goes without saying. But something that I find really hard to deal with, really hard to process, which is really freaking damaging for everyone in our lives, is victim blaming. Now, as a man, you might feel, you know, on the internet, someone's accused like a man that you idolize of something, and you think, like belittling that woman, or saying, oh, you shouldn't have been drunk, you shouldn't have been this, or oh, did this really happen, or kind of questioning it. You might think that might be harmless, or you might think, oh, well, I don't know this woman, so but what what you need to understand as a man, and I think what us women need to try and iterate to the men in our lives, is that every time you do that, it adds to this negative patriarchal society, whereby when you come to date, or you come to, have daughters, or there's females in your life, or maybe you want to be a CEO one day, maybe you're a big boss, maybe you're a big boss guy, right? And you want to own a business, you're going to employ women. That's just going to happen. There's going to come a time where, like, it's actually going to affect you, because that victim blaming from men creates a world where women don't report things because they don't feel like they're going to be heard. They feel unsafe at all times. We spend more money than you'd ever believe on keeping ourselves safe. We're anxious, we're nervous, we don't want to date men. All of these things have a direct effect on men, but yet the men keep perpetrating it. Is that the right word? By victim blaming. Every time you victim blame, it has a negative effect on the whole of society. If you want to live in a world where women want to date you, and women are going to put out, and women are going to be confident and free, and like they're going to love you, and they're not going to meet you and be scared of you or argue with you or bang on about feminism, they're just going to meet you and be like, oh my God, men, create that world for us. In my mind, it's so freaking simple. It's so freaking simple. You have to create that world where women feel that way, create that safety, create that environment, and you will get the version of women that you want. I'm so sick to death of hearing men complain about feminism, men complain that we're getting more fucking rude, we're getting more bulldozy, we're getting more loud, we're getting more, as the men would some men would quote, annoying. We're getting all up in your face. We're not wanting to date you. We're becoming men haters, apparently. I mean, apparently I'm a man hater, but I know that I'm not because men in my life that have created a feeling of trust and safety, I don't hate them and they get nothing but love and adoration from me. So I know for a fact I'm not a man hater, but I fall into that category sometimes in certain men's eyes because we are getting louder, feminism is getting stronger, a movement is happening. But I'm so sick of hearing from men that that is the case, that we're louder, we're more annoying, we're this, we're that, they don't want it, they hate feminism, we shouldn't be so loud, we shouldn't be. Well, then create a world where we feel safe, create a world where we don't need it. It's a simple answer for me. It's for me, this is so simple. As a man, if men want to be this quote unquote like protectors and strength of society, they want to be like alphas, they want to be stronger than women, they want to be better than women, they want to be all these things they claim to be. Well, then be that. Be our safe space, be our protectors, be, there's lots of famous men out there actually that stand up for women and who will happily say being masculine and being strong in your masculinity and being, you know, um, alpha is actually protecting women. That's actually what masculinity is. And I so agree. I think what's happened is majority of men. By the way, when I say men and I say things as a whole, I'm obviously not talking about everyone. So we don't need those not all men people to pipe up because I'm generalizing for the purpose of getting through a podcast quickly, without boring everyone to death. So, but men generally have developed this idea of masculinity, which just simply isn't true. And it includes berating women, it includes putting women down, it includes, you know, creating chaos and, not being our protectors, being our bullies and being our predators. And it's such a skewed view of what should be happening. And the other thing I'm sick of hearing is men saying, without us, who would protect you? Protect us from whom? Protect us from whom? And don't come at me and say, oh, protect you from great white sharks and bears and things that might hurt you. No, 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 no. I've seen countless women protect themselves from predators, actual predators in the wild. And please tell me if you can, like, more than count on your hands how many women you know that have been attacked by predators in the wild. Because I can't, I can count them on one hand, women I know of. I don't know many women that have been attacked by bears. I really don't. The only women I know that have been attacked is women that have been attacked by men. Period. So I'm so sick of hearing that. That's really fucking toxic and harmful to society. Um, and I also think men are really afraid of saying, I want to be your protector. And then when we're like, protect us from who? Protect you from other men. I think they're scared of saying that. And guys, you shouldn't be. If you are one of the good guys, like don't be afraid to say that. Don't be afraid to be disappointed in your own gender. Like please, like disappointment and accountability in your own sort of people is shows strength, shows awareness, shows accountability. It shows everything women are fucking looking for. We will like bow down at your feet. The irony is, right, as women and as a feminist, I don't want to cook for a man every day. I don't want to do all these things. I don't want to be a stay-at-home woman making sandwiches in the kitchen. But the irony is, when a man is in his true masculine form, which in my opinion is true masculinity, as I said, protection of women, kindness, strength, protection against other men, like that kind of thing. When I'm around men like that, I want to serve them. That's the irony. So by being these negative, toxic masculinity loving men, those kind of men are actually creating women that want to be independent and not be around a man and push back against the gender norms and be feminist. I truly believe men have created this. They've created it, and we're being that because it's necessary. And because we currently live in a world where I would rather be in a room of 50 angry feminists than 50 men, without a shadow of a doubt. Without a shadow of a doubt. So, I mean, sadly, it's what's being created by the toxic masculinity. Positive masculinity creates, it allows almost, I'm not saying all women want to be subservient and all women want to be in the kitchen and that kind of thing. I'm not saying that some women don't, and that's absolutely okay. And I don't. I'm very independent. But I think creating like having positive masculinity and creating that safety and that world where women are happy and safe, it does bring out our feminine. It brings out our ability to be in our feminine energy and be, if you're in your true masculine energy, we can be in our true feminine energy. If you're in a toxic masculine energy, you better believe we're in toxic feminine energy. Like, why are you moaning about us being toxic feminine? Like, toxic feminists. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Toxic females, but you're being toxic males. Like, make it make sense. Make it make sense. Like, I think less moaning and more accountability, you know? Um, I also think people not stepping in public is also causing damage. So another thing that's harmful to society. If you see a situation happening, and I had this conversation with a guy in my life the other day who's actually one of the good masculine, you know? But he was saying, men do step in. Or if men don't step in, it's probably because a crazy guy will probably just punch them. Whereas if women step in, a crazy guy's like not likely to punch a woman, but they're more likely to kick off with a guy. Kind of get the logic, but also it's not going to help. So I think more men need to be, as a woman, I've seen more women stepping in. If a woman is being harassed, either sexually or just aggressively, they're being spat at or something nasty or whatever. I've seen more women, small women as well, not necessarily big women, strong women, all shapes and sizes of women, step in and help than I've ever seen men. And I get the logic of like men might be afraid that guy's going to punch them, it's going to end up in a fist fight. But like, so what? So you're happy to see a woman step in and maybe get followed, harassed, abused? Like, come on, guys, step in more. Even if it's just, even if you don't want to get involved and you just want to signal to a woman to come over to you and just be like, are you okay? Like, come here. Or just even just smile at a woman or like give them a thumbs up to be like, are you okay? Like, just do something small. Please just start doing something small. Start small, see where it gets you. Like, just stop sitting back and watching things unfold. It's so damaging. And then when you become in a relationship and you're, sorry, I just dropped my pen, and your girlfriend gets harassed on the tube, or you have a wife or a partner that ends up being, or a daughter, low and like, hopefully not, that ends up being sexually abused or, raped or whatever, like, you would be mad that no one stepped in, right? So don't be that guy that sits back and watches, and then when you experience it for a woman you love, gets angry and thinks, why did no one step in? Like, make it make sense. Nothing about men these days makes sense. And again, I'm not saying everybody, this is a generalization on the dire fucking situation that we're in at the moment. I also think promoting like masculinity in a negative form is really bad for society. I think linking masculinity to power and coercion. At the moment, there's a lot of talk in this manosphere shit about men having money and power and how women just want to be dominated. And I kind of get that that's what I've said earlier, but what's happening is these particular men are mixing two things together. They're stating that women want to be subservient and feminine and submissive when men are coercive and powerful and overpowering and bullying and aggressive. That's not the case. What they're confusing here is we want to be those things when men are soft and supportive. And nothing is sexier than a man that can be soft and feminine with me behind closed doors, soft and feminine with me in public. Like, when they're with me, they're soft, they're emotionally available, they're calm, they're funny, they're relaxed. Then they allow different power dynamics. They allow me to be dominant if I want to be. They allow me to be independent. They're in their soft era, but then when it comes to protecting me, if another man was to abuse me in public, they would then become bang power. Don't mess with my woman. Da da da. Like, that is the sexiest combination. If you can, as a man, get to that place of soft, soft masculinity, emotional regulation, all those things on the day to day, but then be in your power and coercion and aggression when it fucking matters, when there's a literal threat. That's perfect. That's what masculinity is supposed to be, and that is sexy. Like, that's what we want as women. I think what happens is a lot of these toxic men will say, "Oh, so you want an emotional man? You want this? You want that? Oh, you just want a pussy. You just want someone that's not going to say boo to a goose. You just want this little wet man that just cries all the time." No, that's not what we want. We want someone that has the level of intelligence, level of IQ, level of emotional intelligence, where they're able to differentiate between needing to be strong and aggressive and being soft and calm. You don't need to be strong and aggressive with your woman. It's not productive. It doesn't help. It's not going to make that woman want to be submissive. It might make her submissive, but that's coercion. That's a power dynamic that's not healthy. So, yeah, I think portraying masculinity in that way is so damaging and so negative. And I think with that, giving these men a platform is damaging. Like, why? There's no regulations, by the way, in podcasting and things like that. Like, I know because I have a podcast, it's out here. You're listening to this on Spotify or Apple or wherever you're listening or watching me on YouTube. I've not really had to go for any checks for this to be published, by the way. These are my views. And it's going kind of unchecked. Like when you upload to YouTube, there is checks that happen. I don't really know what they check for, but it doesn't take long. They're not, no one's watching my full episode. It's like it probably takes about 10 to 15 minutes. And I'm not damning these platforms, by the way. I don't expect them to vet and watch every single video that goes up because they would be there for, it would take centuries. But there's no real sort of there's no kind of regulation, there's no kind of platform where people can report something that's negative. And I think maybe that needs to be put into place. Like a place or an organization where you can go to if you think something is damaging that's out in the public, or if you think it needs to be regulated for, a certain age range, so certain people can't watch it, and kids can't watch it, kids can't access it. And I think a lot of this stuff shouldn't be accessed by children, for sure. But a lot of these men that have platforms shouldn't even have platforms in the first place. Like anyone that promotes violence, coercion, like there will be men out there that will say my view's wrong, right? And get her view down. Then if we're not allowed our view, she can't have her view. But I'm not promoting violence. I'm not promoting coercion over another species or gender. I'm not promoting power over another group of people. If I was promoting those things, take me down. Please take me down before I get too far, you know? So I think we really need to get this in check somehow, and I think that's really important. And if there is anywhere where we can report podcasts or videos or anything damaging, please let me know. Please get in contact because I would love to report quite a few. There's quite a few damaging male podcasts. So yeah, I also think it's really good though that we're giving light to positive stories. So Giselle Pellicot, if you've not heard, the woman in France, I'm pretty sure every Tom, Dick, and Harry knows this story by now, but she was abused by her husband for years, who was drugging her, posting it on websites, getting other men to come and sleep with her while she was drugged. And she removed her right to anonymity, hard word to say, in order to make shame change sides. And that, I actually get emotional. Like, I actually feel like crying even just saying that phrase. Like, I'm not gonna cry, but it's powerful. Like, even just those words are powerful. Like, did not even expect that. If you're watching me, you can literally see right now how glassy my eyes are. Um, Powerful phrase, and I genuinely think that phrase will go down as like phrase of the decade for sure. To make shame change sides, because she's is such a power move from a woman. And it's a hard power move. It's a hard one to make. Like most women don't even report things that happened to him. And I don't think she did. I think he got caught doing something else, and then these images and videos got found, and she found out from the police. But I think if she had have found out, she would have reported it herself because she's that kind of woman. She's strong. And most women don't even report things that happen to them or want to face their perpetrators. So more power to her. And that's, you know, absolutely nothing negative on those other women. Like, I think this is another thing that people don't understand. I'm sick of victim blaming in a way of, a woman doesn't report a rape and then a year later they do, and someone saes, well, if it really happened or if you really affected you, you would have reported it straight away. Don't even give me that. Until you've been through it, unless you've been raped or sexually assaulted by a man, don't tell me what I should do or what a woman should do. Like, you don't know, you've not been there. Any man that says that kind of narrative, you go wait in an alleyway then and let someone, rape you up the arse and then you tell me what you would do. Obviously, I would never wish that on anybody ever in life, but you tell me what you would do because I just think it's really, it's a lot. There's a lot of things that you're saying that you can't really back up because you don't have that experience. So I hate that, and I think there's a hell of a lot more work that needs to be done on that. And just victim blaming in general. And the reason why women can't go to the police in the first place, I think we need to look at. Let's not even go into Sarah Everard and, the Met Police. And we don't have time for all of this, sadly, as much as I'd love to talk about this for hours. But back to Giselle Pellicott, I really hope I'm saying her name correctly. She's a powerhouse. And I think she's done so much for women. And in a weird way, I would never wish this on anybody. And I'm so sad for her that this happened to her and so gutted that this is some women's reality and lives. But in a weird way, it's almost like not that it was meant to be, not that it was meant to happen. I want to be really careful of my words here. I want to be really careful and aware. But I almost feel like this, when bad things happen, we do have to look at the positive and we do have to be like, what was the good that came from this? What was the purpose of this? Look at the impact it's had. Look, and I want to be really clear here. We're not saying, oh, thank God he did that. And any men that thinks, oh yeah, we'll see him doing that was a good thing, you can fuck right off. I'm saying good on her, like she's the impact, she's the change. But it's like, what an amazing outcome, like what an amazing impact she has had on future women, future generations, all of the women in her circle, the women around her, all the women that have heard her story and witnessed her, all the women that have had the amazing luck to have met her. I really want to buy her book. If anyone wants to get me a birthday present, please buy me her book. I think she's incredible, incredible powerhouse. And I think shame should change sides. Shame has to change sides. I would like to think if something happened to me, and things have happened to me in my past where I haven't reported it and I've brushed it aside and I've come like 15 years and I've healed and I've had therapy and I'm okay. And I think I'm past that now. There's no point digging up old. But I would like to think if anything happened to me in recent times that was really bad, that I would do the same. I would like to think so. Who knows? As I said, you can't predict until you're in that scenario. But I would like to think so. Um, but yeah, what an absolute powerhouse. Absolute powerhouse. Um, I also want to briefly touch on OnlyFans and what I think should also change sides. Is listen, I'm a girl's girl, but I'm not a fan of OnlyFans. I mean, I'd love to be able to do it because I need the dollar, you know? But I don't agree. I don't agree with porn. I could do a whole fucking episode on Pornhub and porn websites that promote, sexual violence, promote women looking young, push these views that young men are viewing and, create this all this stuff in the first place. That's a whole nother episode. If you'd like me to do that episode, I can. But I'm not a fan of porn, I'm not a fan of OnlyFans, blah, 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 blah. As a woman, I wouldn't do it. However, I don't think we should put any blame on the women. And I'll tell you why. I read a statistic, and I wish I'd noted this down before I recorded this. There's so many million women on OnlyFans. I think it's like a couple of million or something like that. But there are hundreds of million of men watching and paying for this. So why are we not like shifting the blame onto the demand? Because if there's no demand, there's no supply. If there's no demand, women are not just going out of their way to get their tits out and do all sorts of things on camera. If there's no demand, they wouldn't be doing it. So I hear a lot of men saying, if my daughter did that, I'd disown her. If my girlfriend did that, I'd disown her. Or would never want to be the girl that does that. Oh, don't like girls that do this. If that's your view, tell your mates not to watch it. Tell your mates not to pay for it. If that is your view, don't you dare ever look at a naked woman on the internet because you are a hypocrite. That's hypocrisy. And women are literally just doing what they need to do for money. And I can't even get into why women have less money than men. Like, let's talk about how much more money we spend on our looks because of the patriarchy, how much more money we spend on safety or safeguarding because of the patriarchy, because of SA because of gender-based violence. Let's not even talk about the amount of money that we spend protecting our loved ones, protecting our children, our daughters, protecting children in general from predators. Like, the list goes on. There's a reason why I expect men to pay for dates. Not if I'm in a long-term relationship. That's a different scenario. But like, there's a reason why early dating, I think men should pay. And it's because of all of these things that women pay for. As a woman, I have to make sure I have enough money in my account to get taxis if I end up going on a date where that man is not safe. I need to make sure I have a safe route home. I need to make sure I have something in my bag to protect me. And there's all these, my phone needs to be fully charged. Like, there's so many things that are mentally, physically, and financially taxing for us women. And so I believe that that is what ultimately has led to a lot of women going to OnlyFans. And I think let's blame the demand, not the supply. Again, make shame change side. It has to. It has to. Oh God, what a topic, eh? I could go on for hours. I feel like I've only scratched the surface, and I say that every episode. But I might do another episode on this, to be fair. If there's a particular part of this topic that you want me to delve into, please do. I can actually get facts and figures. I tend to just waffle a lot rather than giving actual facts, which is a negative of mine. But I treat my podcast like a voice note, I just waffle and give you my insight and view and points of view and all that kind of stuff. So, but let's just do some icks quickly. So, I've got some really strong icks. And those strong icks are as follows on this topic. They are um victim blaming. I mean, I think I've said that a million times, but that is a major ick for me. It's not even an ick, it's a serious thing, but we're just going to put it in the icks category as well. So, victim blaming. If any guy victim blames, if I see any guy on the internet making comments about women or, well, she shouldn't have worn this, which she shouldn't have done this, shouldn't have done that. Like, let's not get into the Epstein files. Doesn't matter what women wear, doesn't matter how old they are, doesn't matter how promiscuous they are. You could be the most promiscuous girl ever with your tits hanging out on a night out and be above age, be 35 and well within your power. Or you could be a 5-year-old child in a fucking nun's outfit. Men can be disgusting regardless. So I am sick to death of the fucking victim blaming. I'm sick to death of the questioning. Why didn't she report it straight away? What was she wearing? What did she drink? How old is she? No, no more. It has to be done. There has to come a time in life where it's done. Sorry, that was a really serious hick. This is supposed to be the fun part of the show. Um, Also, men with daddy issues. That's a huge ick because I don't know if you've seen the Manosphere documentary with Louis Theroux. So many men have daddy issues, and it's quite often the men with the daddy issues that then learn to become toxic and are toxic men. They're abusive. They contradict their own beliefs many times. Like, they're aggressive. They've got daddy issues. Men have daddy issues. I'm sick of women being labelled as the ones with daddy issues. Men have daddy issues, period. Again, not all men, but we're talking about toxic men here, all right? Um, then we're going to get into some non-serious ones. Okay, I've got a rogue one for you, not related to sexual violence. People that play videos on their phone in public, number one. I think I said that on my podcast the other week with Catriona, but this goes a step further. People that play things loudly on their phone when you're watching TV, I think is the absolute height of rudeness. I was brought up to think that that was fucking rude, and it is rude. If I'm in a room with people and they're watching something, I would not dream of playing a voice note or a video out loud because it's so rude. If you're not watching the TV, leave the room. Leave the room. If I get a voice note, I put it to my ear or I leave the room. If I have a phone call, I don't just sit on the phone when the TV's on and people are trying to watch it. And I definitely wouldn't fucking scroll Instagram or TikTok. Like, do you know the most infuriating thing about that is you can turn the video sound off. So when I scroll, I have all the sound off. And it's only when I come to a video I actually want to watch where I'll go, oh, sound on, then watch. Some people leave the sound on. So as they're scrolling, you're getting the first 2 seconds of every fucking video. So it'll be like, no. And it's like, oh, especially for us with ADHD, shut the fuck up. So rude. It's so rude. It's so rude. I can't watch TV with people like that. Don't do it. Like, learn manners, learn some respect. Learn some respect. It's honestly my pet fucking peeve. I hate it. I hate it. Hate it. And then my last tick of the day, guys, back to the manosphere. Male podcasts, male podcasts. I actually really enjoy some, and this is going to sound contradictory because there's what's his name, Harry Jowsey, is it? I don't know if I've said his surname right. Harry Jowsey, Harry Josie, who knows? He was on Too Hot to Handle, and I think he might have also been on X on the Beach. I might have made that up. I don't know. He's been on a few of those Netflix dating shows. He's recently had a cameo in Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, which there's also a lot on that show I could get into to do with this topic. Maybe I'll do an episode on that because we're all intrigued right now. And I'm here to support the girlies because all those girls have fucking been through the ringer, mate. And they're strong. I mean, some of the men have too. There's some bad stories that the men have had. And you know what? Credit to them for being fucking vocal about it. Anyway, back to Harry. He was a bit of a player boy, a bit of a fuck boy, and I never really liked him. But recently I his podcast really gets me going. Like it's really funny. And he makes light of a lot of things and makes jokes of a lot of things, and he's actually not derogatory towards women. He's not, he may have been an F-boy, he may have been this player, this, it might have hurt a few people, but there's men that kind of go through that and they're victims of the patriarchy and the things they do are kind of harmless. And then there's men that like are actual misogynistic cunts. And I genuinely think he was just a young victim of the patriarchy, like, fucked around a bit. But he is actually so funny. But male podcasts in general are an ick of mine because I think I think the other thing about Harry, this is the difference. Okay, I'm going to differentiate. He has female guests on. I think men that only have male guests on and they have male guests on that continue their negative, toxic masculine views, that's the fucking ick. They need to get in the bin, mate. Get in the bin. Um, so yeah. So we've rushed through this one, guys. There's a lot more that could be said. I mean, as I said, this is a huge topic. We could talk about this for hours. But that's where I'm at with it. There's so much going on in the world right now to do with this. So much that can be done, needs to be done. And a feminist movement needs to happen. And it is happening. It's happening in real time, guys. It's happening in real time. Also, massive respect for the 4B movement in Korea. Is it in Korea? I really need to fact check myself before I get on podcast. Before someone gives me a mic, I need to fact check myself because I'm an idiot. But anyway, there's a movement where women, I think it's in Korea. I thought it was Japan, but I think it's Korea, are not having babies, are not engaging with men. And I love that for them because they're saying until you're going to stop hurting us, when violence against women and girls ends, then we'll re-engage with you. Good for you. It's a power move. Let's have more fucking power moves, girls. More power moves. Let's go. Have a great week. Stand in your power, stand in your feminine energy. Be a boss bitch. That's all I've got to say. Let's make shame change sides. That is the quote of the podcast. That is the quote of the century right now. Big up Giselle. Big up your gal. Much love. Stay safe, girlies. Stay safe. Keep fighting the good fight. Good men, love you. You keep fighting too. Support us. Let us be in our feminine energy. Bad men, get the fuck out. Your day is done, mate. You're an ick. Day is done. But good men, we love you.